Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to all the listeners and viewers who are watching this channel. In my previous lecture, I introduced conditional sentences and then I highlighted three types of conditional clauses. Out of three types of conditional clauses, we talk in detail about type 1 conditional clause that is also called real conditional clause. So this lecture is actually the extension of the previous lecture, or you can call it that part 2 of the previous lecture. So here we will discuss in detail conditional clause type 2, which is also called unreal conditional clause. So let's start. Before we proceed, we should know what are the objectives of this session. The first objective of this session is to understand the concept and use of hypothetical unreal conditional clause and to understand how to structure type 2 conditional clause. And the last and third objective of the session is to compare type 1 conditional with type 2 conditional clause. Hypothetical conditional clause. This clause is technically and linguistically called hypothetical conditional clause. In everyday life situation, we call it type 2 unreal conditional clause in present. If you remember, in our previous lecture, we talked in detail about type 1 real conditional clause, where in result clause, something may happen or may not happen. It means that there are possibility that something may happen or something may not happen. That's why we call this real conditional clause. And today we talk about unreal conditional clause in present. What is it? Let's discuss in detail. In the second type of, let me zoom it. In the second type of conditional clause, the hypothetical conditional, the past tense is used to indicate modal remoteness. So it means that in this using this clause, we talk about that we are away from reality. You can see here that it indicates modal remoteness. So remoteness means that we are away from reality. That is unreal. But it doesn't mean that it is impossible. Possibilities are there, but there are less chances of such possibilities. The event or state coded in the condition is seen as less likely to be fulfilled, though not hypothetically impossible. So something is not impossible, but that is less likely to be fulfilled or happened. So the structure is if plus past tense remote. So what is the structure? How to structure type 2 conditional clause? So we use in if clause past tense. But remember that this past tense does not refer to past. We use past tense, but it gives the meaning of present tense, right? So if plus past tense remote without any relation to past time. So even we use past tense in conditional clause, but we do not refer to past time. And then we use in result clause plus would or another remote model such as could or might preceding the lexical verb in the main clause. So in if clause we have if plus past tense, but this past tense does not refer to past time. It gives meaning of present time or present tense. And in result clause we use would or we use other modal auxiliary verbs such as could or might, and after these modal verbs we use base form of the verb in the main clause, which is called also a result clause. So here we have examples. If you left now, you would or might catch the last train. So you can see that here we have two clauses. If you left now is a conditional clause, and you would or might catch the last train. So if you left now, so are you leaving now? Not at all. You're not leaving now. And you would or might catch the last train. Are you going to catch the last train? Not at all. We can just imagine the situation. So hypothetical, in other words, mean that we can just imagine. Or because why we imagine? Because something that is unreal. But it doesn't mean that it cannot happen. It may happen, but there are less chances or less likely to happen something. So another example here we have, that is, if Tom passed his driving test, he would soon be buying a car. Did Tom pass his driving test right now? Not at all. When we say that if Tom passed his driving test, so we are using past tense, but we are talking about present time, not past time. So when I say that if Tom passed his driving test, did Tom pass or did Tom pass the driving test now? Not at all. He doesn't have a driving license. So he would soon be buying a new car. Is he buying a new car now? Not at all. We can just imagine that if Tom passed his driving test, he would soon be buying a car. We can just imagine this situation. Let's proceed. Now here we have type 2. If I ate cake, I would get fat. So am I eating cake? No, not at all. And am I getting fat right now? Not at all. So let's see some more examples. So again, here we focus first on the structure and then we'll give some examples. So the structure of type 2 conditional clause that we have here, if clause, and here we have main clause. So in if clause we use the simple past tense, which gives present meaning, and here we use in main clause we use would or other modal auxiliary verb. Remember that we are using past tense, but we are not referring to past time. We are referring to present time. That in present time something is unreal, something is not real. Now if I ate cake, I would get fat. You can see that here I use simple past tense and here I use would. So if I ate cake, am I eating cake now? Not at all. I would get fat. Am I getting fat? Not at all. I'm just imagining, right? The situation is quite unreal. Second example, if I had your figure, I would eat the whole lot. Do I have your figure? Not at all. Am I eating the whole lot? Not at all. If we didn't have a car, we would find it difficult to get about. Now, do we have a car? Yes, we have a car. We would find it difficult to get about. Do we find it difficult to get about? Not at all, because we have a car. We are just imagining that if we didn't have a car, actually we do have a car right now in present time. So the situation is unreal, that if we didn't have a car, we are just imagining that if we didn't have a car, we would find it difficult to get about. Actually, that we do have a car and we don't find it difficult to get about. And the last example, that if Layla got up earlier, she wouldn't always be late. Now, is Layla getting up earlier? Not at all. Not at all. She wouldn't always be late. Now, is she always be late? Of course, she's always late. So we are just imagining that if Layla got up earlier, actually Layla, she doesn't get up earlier now. In the present time, Layla doesn't get up early. So that is why that she is always late. So in order not to be late, what to happen? That Layla needs to wake up early. So Layla needs to wake up early is a condition for what? For this, that she would not be always late. So here we have an unreal situation that if Layla got up earlier, she wouldn't always be late. It means that Layla doesn't get up or wake up earlier. That is why that she is late all the time. Sometimes we use were instead of was, especially in the clause if I were you. So what is preferable to use in unreal conditional clause, regardless of singular or plural subject? For example, we say that if I were, or if he were, or if she were, or if they were, rather than to say that if she was or if he was. Generally, when we make a statement, so we say that he was, or she was, or I was. But in unreal conditional clause, we use were with all subjects, regardless of singular or plural. Now, why do we use were instead of was? Because it is an unreal situation. And if a situation is unreal, so we are just imagining. So when you are imagining, then you will use were instead of was. We have some example. Let me first of all make it a little bit zoom. Now, if Layla were playing her stereo, it wouldn't be so quiet in here. Here we have this if clause, and here we have this result clause. In if clause, even Layla is a singular subject, but we are using were. Because why we're using were? Because we are just imagining. We are just imagining, and the situation is unreal. So if Layla were playing her stereo, is Layla playing her stereo right now? Not at all. I told you that we are using past tense in if clause, but we are not referring to past time. So we are referring to present time. Is Layla playing her stereo right now? Not at all. It wouldn't be so quiet in here. Is it quiet here? Yes, of course. It's quiet in here. So if Layla were playing her stereo, then it wouldn't be so quiet here. Actually, Layla is not playing her stereo. We are just imagining the situation that if she were playing her stereo, it wouldn't be so quiet in here. So it means that it is quiet here now because Layla is not playing her stereo. Second example, if I were you, I would ask a lawyer for some advice. You can see here that if I were you, not if I was you, because I'm just imagining a situation. I'm just making an unreal situation because something is not true in the present time. So if I were you, I would ask a lawyer for some advice. So I am not you actually. I am someone else, right? So that's why that if I were you, I would ask a lawyer for some advice. Am I asking a lawyer for some advice? Not at all, because I am not you. I am I. Now the third example, that the main clause often has word, we can also use could or might. In the result clause or the main clause, we can use could or might too. If we had a calculator, we could work this out a lot quicker. Now, do we have a calculator right now? Not at all. We don't have a calculator right now. So we could work this out a lot quicker. Are we doing a lot of quicker now? Not at all. We are just imagining that if we had a calculator, so we could work this out a lot quicker. Now, next example, if Layla worked harder, she might do even better at her study. Now, is Layla doing better in her study? Result clause? Not at all. Why? Because Layla, she didn't work harder. We are just imagining a situation that if Layla worked harder, actually she doesn't work harder. In the present time, she doesn't work harder. We are just imagining. The situation is unreal. So she might do even better at her study. So she's not doing better in her study because she does not work harder. Note that if clause usually comes first, but it can come after the main clause. For example, if I knew, I would tell you. Actually, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just imagining. Situation is unreal that if I knew, I would tell you. Am I telling you? Not at all. Do I know? Not at all. Right? So this is unreal condition in the present time. Here we are with some more example of was and were. So use were, not was, where in unreal conditional clauses. Now let me give you some examples. That if I were rich, I would help you. Am I rich in the present time? Not at all. Am I helping you right now? Not at all. I'm just imagining that if I were rich, I would help you. Another example. I say that if I were a bird, I would fly in the air. Am I a bird? Not at all. I'm just imagining that if I were a bird, I would fly high and high. So am I flying high and high? Not at all. Why? Because I am not a bird. I'm just imagining. So if she were here, she would meet me. If she were here, she would meet me. Is she here right now? Not at all. Is she meeting me? Not at all. So these all are unreal conditional situation, right? Or if she were alive. If she were alive, she could see this, right? Or she could participate in my wedding ceremony. Now, is she alive now? Not at all. Is she participating in my wedding ceremony? Not at all. I'm just imagining making an unreal situation. So, if the verb in the conditional clause is be, like was and were, the subjunctive mood form were is preferred in good usage to the indicative was, not always with plural subject but also singular. So it means that a were is used with all subjects, singular as well as plural. Now, the expression if I were you is conventionally used to give advice. And if I were you, I wouldn't agree to carry a package for someone on the flight. Compare type 1 and 2 for possible future actions. So we can use both type 1 and 2 for possible future actions. Type 1, let me zoom it. That type 1, if we stay in a hotel, it will be expensive. So we are just like making a condition that it will be expensive only in future, that if we stay in a hotel. So it is possible. Possibilities are there that if we stay in a hotel, it will be expensive. Type 2, if we stayed in a hotel, we are just imagining here that if we stayed in a hotel, it would be expensive. So did we stay in a hotel? Not at all. We are just imagining here. Now, type 1 expresses the action as an open possibility. Possibilities are open that if we stay in a hotel, it will be expensive. We may or may not stay in a hotel. Type 2 expresses the action as a theoretical possibility, that something more distant from reality. So reality does not exist in type 2. We are away from reality. Use of continuous and could. As well as the past simple, we can use the continuous or could. If the sun was shining, everything would be perfect. So in the conditional clause, we can also use continuous form. So if the sun was shining, everything would be perfect. Now, is the sun shining right now? Not at all. Now, everything would be perfect. Is everything perfect now? Not at all. We are just imagining. If I could help you, I would, but I'm afraid I can't. Again, so we can even use could in a conditional clause because it is past, but we are not referring to past. If I could help you, can I help you? Not at all. Right? So I would, but I'm afraid I can't. In the present time, I can't help you. As well as would we we can use other modal verbs such as could or might in the main clause. For example, that if I had a light, I could see what I'm doing. Do I have a light? No. I could see what I'm doing. Can I see what I'm doing? No. I'm just imagining. If we could roll the car down the bell, we might be late to start it. So again, as I told that we can use could in the main clause, in the conditional clause, and we can use might in the main clause or result clause. Now, open conditions in the past. It is possible that a condition can be open also in the past. How? We can use the past tense for an open condition in the past because open condition is possible only in the present, not in the past. But here we can use also open condition in the past. For example, perhaps Mike took a taxi. Well, if he took a taxi, he ought to be here by now. Now you can see that we are just doing what? We are using open condition in the past. That Mike took a taxi. Well, if he took a taxi, he ought to be here by now. Now we are using past tense, but still it is open because it is possible in the present. Now, I used to live near the library. If I wanted a book, I went and got one. I would go and get one. Both are possible here. So it means that even that I'm using past tense, but still it is an open condition. Possibilities are there. In the previous examples, we saw that there were less possibility or less likely to happen something. But here, these are exceptions, that it is possible to use open condition also in the past. Now, past condition with future results. We can combine a past condition with a future result. If they posted the parcel yesterday, it won't get here before Friday. So we are using past condition with future result because the result would happen in the future that if they posted the parcel yesterday, that is, I'm using like a unreal conditional clause, past condition. It won't get here before Friday. So something will happen in the future. So past condition with future result. Thank you so much for watching and listening. If you have any question related to type 2 unreal conditional clause, so please you can ask your question in comment box. And our next lecture will be about type 3 conditional clause, which is counterfactual conditional clause. So please keep watching. Thank you so much.